White people that have privilege, because we're saying white privilege. So I'm looking out here, I'm seeing a whole bunch of white people.
Every white person does, just because of the color of their skin, like naturally just comes with that. I think that it kind of is like a white privilege to not have to think about white privilege. Like if I'm going to be at a disadvantage because of the color of my skin, I don't have to think about that when many other people do.
I have privilege just being here, like going to a university like this. It's so much more like just about like the opportunities that we get.
Like there's different levels of privilege. I feel like everyone that has the ability to go to like a college or a university definitely has a different level of privilege that as of like compared to someone who just graduated high school and is not like can't afford to go to a college.
Okay, but now go to white people.
Yeah, but like not all white people go to a university because they can't financially afford it.
But John said that all white people have privilege just on the basis of being white.
What's going on, everyone? It's Talks with Kenny here today, and I want to talk about a new privilege that has been exposed by none other than Henry. Oh, you don't know who Henry is? Abram X. Kendi. Does that make you remember? Abram X. Kendi faces a reckoning of his own. Now, as you saw from the intro, we was talking about white privilege. And if you're new to this channel or you're just recently joined this channel, I am a man that don't believe in racial privilege. I believe all privilege comes from the accomplishments of your who? Your parents. Your skin color is determined by your parents. Most of your genetics is determined by your parents, right? This level of privilege has nothing to do with one's race. That is my biggest argument ever. So when people try to make excuses, try to scapegoat their inadequacies, their lack of ability and talent on their race, I find it as just you making excuses. Racism can't stop you. Racism is a minor inconvenience in your life. Sexism is a minor inconvenience in your life because they're all in your head, in my view anyway. A man who believes he can and a man who believes he can are both usually right. My argument is people self-condition themselves or were taught in these liberal schools to view themselves as helpless and oppressed without no facts or evidence to back it up. Maybe certain instances here and there, like I said, look, I'll give it to you. Racism is a personal problem. I could meet a black person that never experienced racism, and I could meet another black person that experienced a lot of racism. But I doubt most black people actually face racism because most black people live around who? Black people. For the most part, anyway. So most of your interactions is going to be with black people. I'm just saying. In the hood, right? And this is one of my biggest arguments is your behavior decides your outcome, not your race, not your skin color. Because this lady you saw from the intro, she's talking about things that is not based on whiteness that you have it. The ability to have a nice food on your table, go to a nice neighborhood, never being pulled over before, that's coming from a safe neighborhood. And if you live in a safe neighborhood, you're less likely to interact with police. So you're less likely to say that you've never been pulled. You're more likely to say that you've never been pulled over before because you live in a good neighborhood. And in the same argument, I make the argument all the time. And this is a big stat that destroys a lot of this narrative that black people like to use to believe that they're helpless or that a system is out to get them, is this driving while black narrative that they see stats where black people get pulled over more than white people, and they run straight to race. And then I go with my guiding axiom: behavior decides outcomes. Okay, Kenny, is black people at large portraying a behavior that will make them more likely to get pulled over? Yes. If you look at stats, you can look it up yourself. You don't need me to sit here and put it on the screen. You can look it up yourself. Do the work. Put groups of people who drives with the highest miles per hour. Black people's at the top of the list. So if you're speeding, if you're part of a group of people that decides to speed or drive fast more than other groups of people, when statistically your people get pulled over more than the other groups of people who don't drive at a higher miles per hour? Yes. That's the joke I make. Oh, black people tell you, oh, the cops pulled me over because I was driving while black, but he ain't telling you how he's cutting into lanes. He ain't telling you that part, though. He just tell you, oh, I got pulled over for the cops for no reason. They follow me all the way in the highway. You were speeding, bro. But you leave that part out. And this is why black people get this narrative put on them that they like to use racism as a scapegoat. You're trying to use race as an alibi. And this alibi is starting to crumble because now Abraham X. Kennedy Christopher Rufo exposed this. The grift is over, Henry. You cashed in on George Floyd. You sold some children's books, but your ideological Ponzi scheme has been exposed. You couldn't even define racism. Your research center implode, and you debunked your own theory in a single tweet. What is a single tweet, Kenny? Stop keeping the suspense. Stop keeping us in suspense. Behold the evidence. Behold the tweet that ended it all. There's never been a self-debunking this spectacular, this glorious. Because Abram X. Kennedy inadvertently exposed minority privilege. Yes, you heard that right. Non-white privilege. Reverse discrimination created privilege. In the inverse, remember anti, right? Anti-gravity, anti-matter. What is anti used? Anti is usually used in a paraphrase like that to mean reverse, inverse, right? I am the anti-hero. What it means, you're not the hero, right? So if you say you were anti-racist, the logic applies, oh, you're not a racist person. When in reality, all it means is you change the target of racism. You change the target of racism being about black people to being about white people. That's all you did. More than a third of white students lie about their race on college applications, and about half of these applicants lie about being Native American. More than 3/4 of these students who lied about their race were accepted. Someone sound the buzzer. Give this man some milk. Give this man some milk. Imagine that. I thought being born white give you a superpower, liberal. Oh, I have privilege, and merely because of my white skin, I never have to think about it. Sounds like black people got that same problem too. Sounds like minority people got that same problem too, at least when it comes to academia. But look at DEI. On this channel, I have a saying that I got from Thomas Sowell. DEI is racism under new management. Tell me I'm lying. I'm waiting. Let me know in the comment section. I'm waiting. Facts or not? DEI is racism under new management. Giving preferential treatment to a group of people merely because of the color of their skin is what? Privilege. Because you didn't have to work for your skin color. Just like a rich kid didn't have to work for being born in a mansion and having a nice lifestyle. And this is the funny part I find about all this race narrative people try to put, because I created a privileged life for my kids. I have 2 kids, 2 boys. They're going to have a privileged life. I make enough money where their mom can stay at home. But look at me. I'm a black man. I'm supposed to be the poorest man in America. How can I afford this lifestyle? Oh, I maximize my talents. I'm disciplined. I persevere in the face of adversity. I'm consistent in my work ethic. I work hard to get where I get in this life. I learned a highly valuable skill that gets me the income to allow me to live the lifestyle that I want. And I didn't use my race as an excuse. Instead of complaining about how the system is against me, oh, it's unfair. I didn't think that. I just think, I'm not doing something that's not as effective as someone else is doing. Oh, look at the Asians. They do pretty well in school. Why is that? Oh, they study a lot. I knew an Asian kid in college. He was studying so much that he was ahead of the like material wise. Like while we're reading chapter 2, he was already on chapter 7. So by the time we get to chapter 2, he goes to class. It's review for him. He's reviewing this stuff. That's why they always seem like they know all the answers, because to them he's reviewing it. And I was like, damn. Let me duplicate that behavior. And I started seeing success. And that's the problem. In the black community, DEI, all this, these liberals think they're doing good to black people. They're not. When you don't criticize someone, when you don't point out the flaws and areas where people can improve, people have this false idea, and it's human nature to get into our egos, because it's human nature not to look at ourselves and self-reflect and see, how we contributed to the situation, how we did wrong in this situation. Black people don't want to look at themselves in a mirror as a culture, as a community. That's why they get so mad at black men that point out these flaws in our culture. Black conservatives been saying it for years about all the weaknesses and the problems and the negatives that black culture push on our youth, and conditions our youth to do bad decisions, incentivize bad habits that gives us bad outcomes. You think they listen? No. They want to scapegoat that, try to make this seem like, oh no, it's not our fault. It's the system's fault. It's white supremacy fault. How in the world in a country supposedly supposed to benefit white people, that white people have to lie on college applications just to get accepted into four-year universities. Make that make sense? The math ain't mathing. And this is the problem I have. And then when conservatives call it out, Charlie Kirk, God forbid, says, "Hey, I don't want people to get. I don't want. I doubt if a black person is qualified to be a pilot because of the DEI stuff they put into place. Y'all quick to call him a racist." Let's go into the methodology that Abram X. Kennedy helped kind of push in the mainstream: critical race theory. Now, this page is calling it losers, but here's the methodology. 90% of their whining is focused on the past. It might be 100 years in the past, 600 years in the past, where none of us was alive, right? You're pretending slavery hurt you, holding you back. You're complaining that you're traumatized by slavery when you never personally experienced it. That's like me saying I have PTSD because I watched a movie about the military. I'll be insulting. I find that insulting. I find that I'll be insulting to military men that actually experience it. Not me fake pretending. Me crying in 2 feet inches of water. That's how I take black people when they're crying about slavery. Oh, there's generational wealth. Well, if y'all stop killing each other at a disproportionate rate, maybe you will have some generational wealth. Maybe if you stayed in the family, because it shows that generational wealth comes mostly from 2-parent households. 70% of them of the black community is raised by single mothers. How are you going to generate generational wealth? How are you going to pass down everything? Single parents always struggling to make ends meet, living paycheck to paycheck. That means statistically, if you married and you're coupled up and you have kids in a structured family, you're less likely to be in poverty. If you're a single mom, you're more likely to be in poverty. So I ask you again, is it behavior or is it racism? Is your race the reason why you grew up in poverty? Or is the fact that your mom made certain decisions, certain circumstances happened to you, and that's the cause of why you're living in poverty? Not because of your race, not because of a system that's out to get you. And I'm tired of this game of playing boogeyman, because I know what y'all doing. The previous generation of blacks that gave us this bad culture, that incentivized us, that taught us bad habits and bad, mind maps to make decisions based off of material, superficial BS. They have passed down this culture to us, and they're the reason why we're in this current situation. So a way of absolving themselves of responsibility and culpability, they blame racism. That's what the previous generation of black Americans has showed us. And I want that shit to end with my generation, in the millennials. Because I'm done with this. I'm not passing down this crappy culture, this crappy value system to my kids. I have expectations for my kids. I want to push my kids for excellence. I'm done with this. Oh, I grew up in the nah. I'm done with that. Pick your struggle, Black America. Pick your struggle. You're gonna be a victim or you're gonna be a victor. You can't be both. You can't be a victim, but you're a millionaire. No, you can't do that. A lot of these famous black celebs that like to portray themselves as victim. Oh, I'm still down. No. If LeBron James get pulled over, he's gonna have a different experience than an average 6'8" black man. I'm just saying. But y'all don't call that privilege. And I'm tired of this ish. 90% of them whining. CRT losers will rarely address what can be done in the present. For every opportunity in front of them, they will always have 100 to 600 reasons from the past as to why they cannot better their circumstances. Every failure in their life is to blame on white supremacy. So let's inverse that. So if you think every failure in your life is to blame to white supremacy, then what about your successes then? This is why Democrats show off their racism a little bit. Democrats have this false idea that without affirmative action, black people can't make it. Make it make sense. And yet, this is what y'all crying about. Like I said in the intro, like the beginning of this video, a man who believes he can and a man who believes he can't are both usually right. A people that believe they can and a people that believe they can't are both usually right. And the liberals have conditioned black people with this garbage. I told you the stats. Kids that are exposed to CRT material show a lower level of self-esteem, lower level of ability to change their circumstances, aka self-determinism. And that's what the black community needs more now than ever. Self-determinism. Decide for yourself. Determine for yourself. Don't fall into the line, oh, you're a black man, you got to vote Democrat. Says who? That's what my father told me. My father said, hey, Don't let anyone tell you just because of the color of your skin, you're supposed to do something. If it worked, people would all emulate it. He said, that's it. If it works, emulate it. You see the Asians that they're successful, look at their behaviors. If you mimic those behaviors, you go get those same results. Simple. But black people don't want to hear it. They want to pretend they're a whole different species because of their skin pigmentation. Make it make sense. And this is the modern day DI garbage that we've been exposed to. And you know who keeps this up? In the intro, white women, white liberal women specifically. Like I said in my videos, white liberals have a negative bias against their own group of people. So this stuff feeds into the white liberal savior complex that a lot of white liberals have. This is what white privilege is all about. White privilege is not about holding white people accountable. White privilege is about, how you say it, kissing white liberal women's butt and showing how great they are. Oh my God, look, they was in positions of power, but they turned against the tyrants and helped the little guy. Oh, it's to create this narrative to be kind of go into their ego and self-esteem about themselves. Oh, look how loving I am. I'm helping these poor people who can't help themselves because they're helpless. I'll never take help from such a condescending person in my life. What do you think I am? Some pet? Because of this color of my skin, you think I'm a pet? What's wrong with you white liberals? That's why their ideology never was I never felt an incentive to be a part of white liberalism ever. Because I hated that idea. I'm like, you think you're doing something for me? Hey, just give me the opportunities. That's all I care about. I don't need no special treatment. I don't need no, I don't need no extra support. Just, hey, give me the criteria you're going to judge me on. I'll go in the corner, prepare myself, just like basketball practice. You had all summer to prepare for basketball practice. For the tryouts. The tryouts are going to let you know whether you practice good, if you prepared well enough or not. That's all I care about. I just want a fair shot. I just want to be evaluated fairly. That's it. I don't need no special handouts. I don't need you lowering scores for me to get into the thing. If I make the mark, I make the mark. If I don't make the mark, I don't make the mark. But DEI spits in the face of all of that. Because DEI is all about equal outcome, which is Marxism, which is improbable to happen. Because even amongst a community, even amongst in the black community, not every black person have the same outcomes. That's a fact. So what makes you think black people and white people will have the same outcomes? Black people complain about wealth inequality. If I look at the stats, I say, okay, remember, here's my argument. I'm taking race out of it. I take race out of it. Two groups of people. Hey, this population has younger people. This population, on average, has older people. If I make the claim, hey, older Americans tend to make more money than younger Americans, would that explain the wealth inequality? Yes. Because at the end of the day, what? Black people always, this is the funny part about black people. They joke about but they always say, oh, I'm grateful. I made it out. Most black men don't make it out of the hood my age. I used to hear that growing up all the damn time. But when I make this point, they're quick to make arguments. Oh, why is that the case, Kenny? Why is that the case? Why that's the case? Black men keep killing each other. That's why the case. Oh, well, you got to go deeper because they've been taught that this is the only way. This is the only life. This is the only way they can make it out of the hood. This is the only way they can have a productive living. Right? They got to sell drugs. They got to do all this dangerous stuff to make money because they want to make fast money instead of being disciplined and sacrifice for the long term. Spend 8 years in school. Right? From high school to college, then graduate with a career and slowly build up their wealth, make smart decisions, put their money in savings to get. They don't want to do it the long way. That sounds long, boring, complicated, too much time spent. They want fast money. That's why Black America loves athletes, sports stars, actors. They want to be able to make money fast and quick. They don't like the long, slow, methodical. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying. Because if you ask a black person without them having Google in their hand, who's the richest black person alive? They'll name you an athlete or a rapper or an actor. Tell me I'm lying. When it's none of those three. Oprah is the closest they'll probably get to someone who didn't really make their money off of entertainment. Even then, it's some black dude on Wall Street. You don't know his name. I don't know his name. I'm being honest. But I know it ain't Jay-Z. I know it ain't LeBron James. I know it ain't Michael Jordan, who's the richest black people, but who black people know. And that's who we idolize. We make black youth go towards low probability outcomes. What are the probability of you becoming an NBA player? What are the probability of you being an NFL player? What is the probability of you being an actor? Those are low odds. But let's look at the white community, Jewish community, Asian community. Hey, who did they idolize? Banker, software engineer, lawyer, doctor, this, that. And if I make a bet, hey, what's more likely to happen? This person becoming a doctor or this person becoming an NBA player? NBA player, 450 spots. Doctor, millions of jobs around the globe. The world's his oyster. He can work anywhere for an opportunity to be a doctor. But our culture incentivizes black people to be athletes, actors, entertainers, all that stuff. Low probability outcomes. And then they wonder why the average wealth of black people is so low. Because you've been conditioned to strive for things that the odds are not in your favor. But instead of saying, hey, maybe we should change our culture and our incentive structure within our own culture and community so that way we push our youth to go to more high probability outcomes. Nah, you want to blame racism. Lazy thinking. And this is what's always going to stop the black community from actually growing. W.E. Du Bois, right? Progressive, socialist. But I agree with one argument he made in his book, The Talented Tenth. A group of people that is incapable of keeping its most brilliant and talented people will always be at the bottom. That's the black community currently. The black community got no businesses. They don't got no structure. Deion Sanders is a perfect example of this claim that W.E. Du Bois made long time ago. Man, dead and gone, and he's still calling the card of black America. All these black athletes, all these actors, all these entertainers, they all could have donated a check to Jackson State and told Jackson State, hey, Jackson State, we want you to match his offer from University of Colorado. We want you to match Deion Sanders' offer from University of Colorado. Actually give him more. That's what y'all could have done. That's what happened. That's how I think. That's how a black conservative think. Do for self. How can we do for ourselves? How can we do it for ourselves to match this great talent, all these eyeballs on these historically black colleges? How can we keep them here? This is how we keep them here. But then y'all pretend y'all got unity. Oh, we're supposed to unite to vote Democrat. But when something productive in your community, right? You want him to stay in an all-black college? You don't want him to go to a predominantly white college? Put up or shut up. And none of y'all wanted to put up. And then y'all want to demonize Deion Sanders because he chose to leave. Because he went to a place that valued his talent and his ability more. That's the problem with the black community. But keep fake pretending that you pro-black. Keep fake pretending that y'all unified when y'all not. Y'all only unified against an enemy that's been controlled by a narrative by a white liberal. So they can use themselves to boost their own self-esteem about how they're helping you. When really they're coddling you. Really, they're making you helpless and weak and dependent on them. That's the reality of the DEI programs. That's the reality of all this garbage that they teach you. Because they know if they make you self-sufficient, self-thinking, self-determinate, you wouldn't need anybody. And that's my point. Because that's how I feel. I don't need anybody. I don't care if you're white. I don't care if you're white. I don't care if you're Asian, black. I'm not looking for none of y'all validation. You either agree with me, you don't agree with me. I like to hear why. That's it. I'm not looking for people to validate my worldview. If I believe racism is not a big issue in my life and no one has given me solid evidence how it is, that's my business. But people online, oh, you're a raccoon, you coon, you're a Sambo, you this, that. I don't care about the names you calling me, anonymous person on the internet. I believe so much of what I'm saying that I put my face behind what I say. What about you? A letter on the comment section, bro. Come on. Oh, Kenny, you're ignorant on the topic. How I'm ignorant? I've been black my whole life. How I'm ignorant? Oh, you wasn't born here. That's a new one now. I get it. Oh, you wasn't born here. My Florida birth certificate tells me otherwise. Because I mentioned my parents were immigrants. They immigrated here, but my parents met here. Let me tell you something. If America never existed, I never would have been born. Because my parents met here in America. But that's why my name is Kenny. My mom said, oh, my first American-born son. The first American in the family. That's what my mom said. So she said, I'm going to give you the most American name I can find at 1996. It was Kenny. But black people online, oh, you're not from America. Oh, you're an immigrant. Idiocy. But hey, keep doing the same thing over and over again. Keep voting for the same party over and over again. Keep complaining about how the Democrats are in an abusive relationship. You're in an abusive relationship with the Democrats, but you hate Republicans more. Oh, I'm gonna sit on the couch. Okay, you're passive then. You're just gonna let the country be how it is, and if Biden wins, it'll be worse for you. A lot of black people can't afford Biden. Y'all can't afford Biden. Biden's for the rich. Inflation only helps people with assets. I don't know a lot of black people, especially these single moms, that have assets. I'm just saying. But y'all keep pretending that I'm voting against my best interest. This turned into an epic rant, but hey, I didn't mean to go there, but that's how much I hate CRT. CRT is a load of crap. It's garbage. That's the type of ish that my kids' ears will never hear this crap. And if it does, I'm the example. They're gonna be like, oh, black men are oppressed in this country. Oh, my dad don't think so. That's what my son, that's the kind of thing I want my son to be saying. Oh, it's hard for a black man to make it. Damn, I guess my dad ain't black then, because my dad making it. My mom's a stay-at-home mom. I don't know. Is it really that hard for black men to make it out here, or are you just making excuses? That's like a guy saying, I can't make it to the NBA because I'm short. They discriminate against short players. It's crazy. But hey, I digress. Sorry for the long rant, guys. I hope you guys find this video enjoyable. I got a little passionate there. I got a little carried away there. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'm really interested to hear if you agree, disagree. I don't really care. I want to hear all the opinions, all the options, all the statements, all the arguments in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I really do appreciate you guys watching to the end of the video. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.